Nutcracker podcast.
Hello again, beautiful people. We're back at the Global Nutcracker podcast, this time with a very special guest, Krishen Naidoo from Gig Engineer. Thank you very much for being here with us.
Yes, pleasure to be here.
So, very interesting name of the company. I want you to walk me through the name first and then what the company does.
Yes, so Gig Engineer pretty much does what the name says. We connect engineers with companies on a gig model. So that's where the name comes from, Gig Engineer.
Fantastic. And where is your team located? Talk to me a little bit more about the company itself.
Yes. So a fairly recent startup. We've launched just over 2.5 years ago in South Africa. And we've been looking to expand more globally. We set up a company in Qatar more recently, earlier this year. And the plan is to expand Gig Engineer to a more global platform, starting with South Africa and Qatar to enter the GCC and African market. The team is quite diverse and international as well. I'm based in South Africa. One of the guys in the team is based in Doha in Qatar, another in Norway, and a few others in South Africa and Portugal. In fact, our tech is currently being done in Portugal. our
Oh,
dev team.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Glad to hear that one. And what you just say, recently, around 6 months ago, Native Teams also launched its product around the gig economy, which we called Gig Pay, basically enabling gig platforms to be very compliant in the way that they handle the payments and the regulations around the giggers, which are the people who are working on the platforms. What would you say is the biggest difficulty when it comes to scaling your company, but also to manage the payment infrastructure for the people that eventually would be working with the customers on your platform?
Yeah, so I think hiring any engineer or team globally comes with the compliance and global payment aspects, which is not a simple problem to solve. And I think with more companies are moving to a more decentralized, more agile, you can say hybrid and remote work model. And I think that's where the gig economy and gig hires sort of plays a role. So overcoming those kind of barriers in terms of the compliance and global payments is part of the value proposition
Hmm.
that Gig Engineer offers. And similarly with a company like Native Teams, having that transition or facilitating that model to be able to hire globally, I think is that seems to be what companies are moving towards.
Fantastic. I really align with what you just said, especially when it comes down to we want and we need to respect the local legislation and the compliance. At the same time, we need to be fast, and sometimes the pace which we're working with requires us to get to other solution, like is an employer of record or like even the Geek Pay product that we have made in order to make sure that these payments are happening in a compliant way, and you are not encountering issues with maybe potential the local legislation whenever the payment is coming from. And what would you say in terms of scaling? You're mentioning you have a person in Norway, you're in South Africa, you have a colleague in Qatar. What would you say is the key, or not the key, but rather the main bottleneck that you're having navigating this global workforce?
Sure. So with engineering it's a global profession. It's accepted globally in terms of the qualifications, the experience, and you can say that engineers, they're a global workforce in terms of being able to hire engineers from anywhere in the world. And in terms of allowing companies to be able to do that is what we are trying to facilitate. And we ourselves are based in other countries. Everyone on the team is an engineer by background. We have everyone also has an MBA, so we understand the technical aspects and the business aspects. And that's the model we operate on, with a global team, and trying to apply that model to engineering companies to be able to hire an engineer anywhere in the world at any time on any project. That's our goal.
Fantastic. And how do you navigate the long-term relationships? Because yeah, you need a quick fix. You get a gig worker, you get a gigger. As we say, it's an engineer, but let's call them a gigger for the sake of the conversation.
Yeah.
But then, if you want to establish a long-standing relationship I want to have a long-standing relationship with you as an engineer because I trust you. How does it work through the platform?
Sure. So there's two aspects to the platform. One is the gig work, So very project-based work. That's currently how the platform is set up. So if you want to hire, engineering is very project orientated. So if you want to hire somebody on a project, and you would specify these are the deliverables you want from it, and the project can be a day, a week, a month, etc. So that's facilitated through the platform. But if a company wants to hire somebody on a longer term basis, you can say, as you said, they may want them to work on multiple
As a
projects.
contractor, let's say that
Correct.
they jump from being a gig, a part timer to a full time contractor. How does
Yes.
the relationship flow from there?
Yeah. So currently we do that a bit more manually off the platform.
Uh huh.
And the intention is to try and automate that. So currently, the way the platform is set up is specifically for gig work, but the intention is to have that to facilitate the
To
relationship on a
expand
more
and to grow. I fully
yes,
understand.
and that's where the EOR and COR will come into play, and that's something we are looking to see how can we automate that and expand it, and I think that's sort of the link I think with native teams from that perspective.
Fantastic, fantastic. Glad to hear that. 2026, what has in store for Gig Engineer? Where are you looking to expand?
So 2026 is the year we conquer the world.
Yes, I'm all about it.
So we're currently we've set up an entity in Qatar as an entry point into a GCC. We're using South Africa as a strategic entry point into Africa. And the next step for us would be to expand into Europe, which has a large. I mean, our focus is on expanding to key engineering markets globally. So Europe is a big market for us, and the next one is the US. Well, the US and Europe
Yeah,
would
the
be
US is the dream. There's where most of the money is, for sure.
yes,
Fantastic.
exactly.
Let's get to our rapid fire session quickly. Only
Sure.
a few words, 3 questions, bolt speed. In 3 words, the key to scaling successfully.
3 words, I would say product market fit. And I would say the other 3 words would be execution, execution, execution.
Fantastic. So, product market fit, execution, execution, execution. Great. Weirdest compliance rule you've ever seen, heard?
I think in South Africa, there's many very strange rules. But I think when it comes to hiring contractors, it's not so bad. But hiring a full-time employees, there's a lot
It's
of
difficult.
labor regulations. It's very
Good.
difficult to fire somebody
And
for
last
poor
but not least,
performance.
so I learned where your heart really is. If money wasn't a worry, where would you expand tomorrow? If you didn't have to worry about money,
I think it would be the US.
it would be the
Yeah,
US.
that's
So so Europe is just a trampoline for you for the US, or
yeah.
it has a lower entry. The Europe, and
I think the US market, I mean, it's the biggest economy in the world. I think if you want to enter the US market, I think you have to be prepared for it. I think we're getting there. That's the end goal. And I think if money and resource wasn't a problem, I think that's where it
we're
would
also
be.
preparing to expand into the US.
Okay.
So beware, all competitors. We love you, but we'll be there big time next year. So thank you very much for having for being here, Krishen. It's a pleasure having you, and I'm sure that you will grow exponentially. Hopefully, we'll be able to facilitate a few things for you. I'm very much looking forward to see the success of you and your company.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Go global, not nuts.